What's in a name? Now, I personally don't like disability insurance as the name. So strategy 3 is, what's the name? I use income protection, asset protection, business protection. It's not about the disability. It's about the ability to pay your bills, to continue your lifestyle. It's about your ability to be responsible for who you are rather than be a burden to someone else. In my case, my burden would have been my parents. The doctors at Freighter Memorial were ready to release me, and they said, where would you like to go? I said, I'd like to go home. And my mom smiled and says, we can't wait to have you come home. And I'm like, Mom, what are you thinking? You're coming to Minnesota, right? I said, are you out of your mind? My home's in Chicago. The disability insurance policies gave me the financial choice and control to be able to go back to my home rather than be the burden on my parents, much to their chagrin. In speaking about this coverage, change the vernacular. We can't wait for the carriers to do it. We need to do it as the advisors. Speak to people about income protection, asset protection, business protection. Mr. Prospect, if I could show you some ways to protect your income, to protect your business, to protect your assets, would you be interested in a 20-minute conversation? They will say yes. I was sitting with an advisor at a table with a customer and his wife. And they had specifically called the advisor, and this is generally how it goes. They call the advisor and say, geez, we want to buy disability insurance. And the advisor says, well, geez, I don't know much about it, but I'll bring in the expert. So there I am sitting there, and they're waiting for my big presentation on disability insurance. And I looked across the table and said, geez, would you mind just helping me understand why we're here today? Well, we're here to talk about disability insurance. And I said, can you help me understand what's your understanding of disability insurance? They kind of looked at me funny. It's like, he looked at his wife, and then Gary looked at me and said, well, it reimburses my expenses, right? Something like that. You see, the customers don't even know what disability insurance does. But if you speak in terms of income protection or asset protection or business protection, turns out this particular individual was the son of the owner. He has no ownership in the business, makes $500,000, has zero coverage, meaning he's running around naked, no benefits at the firm with respect to disability protection. And I said, well, what do you think is going to happen? And he said, well, my parents will take care of me. You guys are all probably a little smarter than I am, but do you think there's a problem there? So what happens when the sales manager has an accident or an illness that prevents them from working? Is mom and dad going to take care of them? And that got the ball started. He started thinking. So now not only do we have an income protection problem, we also have a business protection problem, don't we? And just in a couple of weeks, he's bringing in his attorney and the parents, and he'll be there, and we've got some work to do there. That case, in my humble opinion, is probably worth $25,000 to $30,000 of premium. And that's because they don't understand. So focus on income protection, asset protection, business protection. Just rolls right off.